Good afternoon. A friend of mine requested that I make another video, so I figured I might as well since I haven't made any related videos in quite a while. Just uploaded old videos that I've had lying around. So I'll cover what I'm wearing right now first. This is a shirt that I've been making over the past week. It's presently the Sunday before spring break ends. And I've been working on this shirt for the past week. Well, I've gotten the weaving for this done. The past 2 weeks before that I was cutting out the rings and straightening some and opening some. It's basically made with 16 gauge 3/8 inch interior diameter rings in a European 4-in-1 pattern. It's pretty standard, and it can fit anyone from me who has about a 32, 33 inch chest to up to a 40 or 44 inch chest. And I'm making it for my school drama department because every drama department needs a chainmail shirt, so it needs to fit a lot of different sizes of people. So it stretches, but it still contours to the body. And other things. The chainmail shirt that I was wearing underneath the flexible plate armor, I still have, and I've been modifying it significantly since it was last shown in a video. Here it is now. I opened it down the front. I took the sleeves off, because they were just getting in the way. Although I've added, on this side, a partial sleeve. And it's 6-in-1 and 4-in-1, so it's much more flexible than they were. And I lengthened it, and this part at the bottom here is a little bit lighter and brighter than this stuff here, because this is newer, this is older. And basically, I have 14 gauge steel hooks that I hook through these Mobius balls, and that is how I put it on now. And yeah, it looks kind of cool. Anyway, here I have a new drawer system for storing some of my stuff, various pieces of scrap junk, some 18 gauge 1/4 inch ID rings, those are closed, and a bunch more 1/4 inch 14 gauge 1/4 inch rings that are not closed yet. These are just freshly cut. That's a lot of rings. And here are some of the rings I've been using on the shirt that I'm wearing right now. And here's just random pieces of stuff, samples of weaves that I've tried for no particular reason. This, on the weapons side of things, is a knife that I made. I wanted it to look kind of elven, so I gave it handle, I guess. A different handle. It's made of pine. Well, the handle's made of pine. The blade is made of steel. 1/8 inch thick steel. And it's probably one of the finer pieces I've made. It's pretty sturdy, and it holds up pretty well. For prom, I've been making a cane, because canes are classy. And it's got a carved dragon type head with a ram's horn on it, and a curly swirly tail, and twisted wire. Let's see if we can get a look at that. Maybe, maybe not. Twisted wire all the way down the shaft proper. So, that's for prom. Aha! Another thing for prom is the vest I'm going to be wearing. And that is, just a moment, this vest, which is, here we go, it's European 4-in-1 on a 45-degree bias with elf weave seams. And basically I made it with 14 gauge 3/8 inch ID rings. It took me a couple weeks to complete, and it was built off of this prototype pop-tab vest, which I completed in about a week. It's more or less the same general design. It's got the 45-degree seams, and yeah. Over here, I have some work I'm doing on a European 6-in-1 shirt that I'm making. This is why I've got all those 18 gauge 1/4 inch rings. This piece here is going on the back. You can see this is very old stuff. This is some of the first chainmail I ever made. And it works its way over to newer stuff. And this is the most recent piece that I've made of this. And this shirt I've been working on for a couple months now, and it takes a while, because this is a pretty dense weave with these rings. And it's very heavy, and in this piece alone there's 8,770 rings, so it's going to take a while, and a lot of rings. Aha. I have a tie that I made for a school mass once. It's a Japanese 12-in-2 weave, with the big rings being little 2-ring Mobius flowers of steel and brass. Both rings are 3/8 inch interior diameter. Up here, I have a whip that I'm working on. I've got it about 5 feet, 5 foot something so far. It's all round mail so far, except for the very tip, which I'm going to be taking off. That's box chain. I'm not gonna, if you want to know what the specs are on this whip, I'll tell you. A mask that I've never been able to finish, because a steel mask. I've been working on it, but I can't figure out how to get those pieces filled in without some very tedious, curvy garbage. So, if anyone has any idea how to do that better, I would love to know. And that... oh, some more weaves that I've been trying out. This is full Persian grizzly chain with 14 gauge 5/8 inch interior diameter rings. I'll just open up this drawer and show you some stuff. This is a heart made of roses, little Mobius ball roses. Each of those is, I think, 4 rings, and it's made with a Japanese 6-in-1 pattern, pretty much. These are some 14 gauge rings I made by wrapping the wire around just a scrap piece of steel that I had lying around. Aha! Here is a finger ring that I made by twisting brass and steel wire together, if you want. And this is the same basic idea, just with just galvanized steel. If you want any more specifications for that, I'll just comment and I'll tell you. Here's an elf weave bracelet that I made and I wore for a while until I replaced it with this permanent bracelet. A friend at school helped me close this. It's European 6-in-1 with the 18 gauge 1/4 inch interior diameter rings. Here's a patch of 4-in-1 with rather small 18 gauge 3/16 ID rings, more or less. Some more elf weave. This one I've just been making for gits and shiggles just because. Some 6-in-1 with 14 gauge 3/8 inch rings. My very first inlay, which is just a, if you can actually see it, it's just a brass cross in some of this stuff, which I showed you before. And I think that's pretty much all that I have of interest, except for one more thing. And just give me a second, because this is a bit bothersome to put on. Yeah, there we go. My Chainmail Glove. This is made in European 4-in-1 with 18 gauge 1/4 inch ID rings, and it took me a couple days to do. I made it quite a while ago, actually. The fingers were kind of strange to do. I didn't really like how I closed them off, but I couldn't figure out any other way with the size rings that I had. And, one more other thing that I was making for prom and might or might not actually wear there. This is the general idea of a monocle that I made with a little piece out of a scope that I got from a Nerf gun, and then the ring around it is 14 gauge twisted wire. That stuff is really tough to work with. And then, behold the world's worst soldering job. I just put a couple pounds of solder on there and melted it all together. Which probably looks better on the camera than it does in real life. And soldered it onto this chain which I had lying around. I didn't make that chain. And, aha, one last, I think, yeah, this is the last thing that I made for prom. This is the flower that my date's going to be wearing. Still have to fix it onto some kind of bracelet type deal. And it's a couple pieces of steel bent into the shape of a rose and filed off, and then 2 little Mobius balls glued together, and then a dot of solder in there, which I just melted to make it look nicer than the glue that was keeping it all in, because Gorilla Glue doesn't look very good by itself. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. There's the plate mail, there's the other suit of plate mail, there's, yeah, good stuff. Hope you enjoyed the video.